There's one person listening every single time you break a promise to yourself. That's you. Every time you say, I'm starting Monday, and Monday comes and you don't. Every time you say, I'm done with this, and you go right back. Every time you tell yourself, this time will be different, and nothing changes. Somebody is taking notes. You are. And eventually, you start believing in yourself. That might be one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a person. Because once you stop trusting your own word, even your dreams start sounding like lies. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Elevate You Lifestyle. I'm Eric Queen Nelson. Imagine this. You have a friend, and every Friday, that friend calls you and says, I'll be there at 7. 7 comes, they don't show up. Next Friday, same thing. I promise. 7 o'clock. 7 comes, nothing. Again, and again and again. Eventually, they call. They call you on one Friday and say, I'll be there at 7. You say, okay. But you don't prepare. You don't wait by the door. You don't rearrange your evening. Why? Because you have learned something. Their words are no longer anything to you. Now imagine the friend is you. This is what we're going to talk about today. Let's dive into it. We talk a lot about confidence, but we don't talk enough about self-trust. And they're not the same thing. Confidence says, I think I can. Self-trust says, if I tell myself I'm going to do it, I believe me. That is different. You can walk into a room, look confident, speak confidently, dress confidently, and still have absolutely no confidence in your own word. Because privately, you know your history with yourself. You know how many times you have said tomorrow. You know how many plans you have abandoned. You know how many boundaries you have created, then violated yourself. You know how many times you have negotiated your way out of something you promised yourself that you would do. And nobody else may know, but you know. That is why self-trust is not built through affirmations alone. It is built through evidence. Your mind is watching what you do, not just listening to what you say. And every time your actions match your word, you deposit something into yourself. Trust. One deposit, then another, until eventually you don't need to hype yourself up anymore. You know, I said I'm going to be there, so I'm going to be there. I said I'm going to finish, so I will finish. I said I'm not going back, so I am not going back. That is power, quiet power. Because now your own mind recognizes your authority. And let me tell you something. A person who trusts themselves moves differently. They make decisions faster, not recklessly, but clearly, because they are not consistently second guessing whether they will follow through. They don't need motivation every morning. They have built a relationship with themselves. And relationships are built on trust. Even the relationship you have with you. Think about that. We understand this perfectly when dealing with other people. If someone lies to you repeatedly, you stop trusting them. If someone consistently cancels, you stop depending on them. If someone makes promises they never keep, eventually their words lose value. But then we do the same to ourselves and wonder why we struggle with confidence. Maybe your confidence is not broken. Maybe your credibility with yourself is. And that's actually good news because credibility can be rebuilt. But here's where people make another mistake. They try rebuilding it with some enormous promise. Tomorrow I'm going to change my entire life. No, don't do that. If someone had lied to you 50 times, will you trust them because they made one enormous promise? Probably not. You'll say, show me. Your mind works the same way. Show yourself. Start small. Tell yourself you are waking up 30 minutes earlier. Then get up. Tell yourself you are reading 5 pages. Read them. Tell yourself you are making the phone call. Make it. Tell yourself you are going to walk. Going for the walk. Go walk. Tell yourself you are practicing for 20 minutes. Practice. Small promises kept consistently, because a small promise kept is more powerful than a massive a promise that's broken. Let me say that again. A small promise kept is more powerful than a massive promise broken. That is how you rebuild yourself, not through dramatic declarations, but through quiet evidence. And eventually something happens. You begin believing yourself again. That is when your posture changes, your decision changes, your standards change. Because now when you tell yourself, I'm going after this, there's history behind those words. Your mind says, I know you. You mean that. Imagine having that kind of relationship with yourself. Imagine saying, I will figure it out, and eventually believing it. Not because life has always worked in your favor, but because you have watched yourself survive before. You have watched yourself adapt. You watch yourself learn. You watch yourself keep going. Now your confidence is not dependent on the outcome, and it's dependent on your character. That is a much stronger foundation because outcomes change. Character travels with you. And here's another part nobody talks about. Keeping your word to yourself also changes what you are willing to tolerate from other people. Why? Because when your own word becomes valuable, words become valuable to you. You start noticing inconsistency. You start noticing empty promises. You stop being impressed by what people say they are going to do. You watch what they repeatedly do, because that's how you learn to evaluate yourself. And your standards rise, not your arrogance. You're from integrity. That is why this is bigger than productivity. This isn't about checking boxes. This is about becoming someone you can depend on, because there are going to be moments in life when nobody is coming. No coach, no applause, no motivational video, no friend calling at the perfect moment. Just you standing in front of a difficult situation and a difficult decision. And in that moment, you need to know, can I depend on me? That is the question. Can you depend on yourself when you're tired? Can you depend on yourself when nobody notices? Can you depend on yourself when the excitement wears off? Can you depend on yourself when keeping your word becomes inconvenient? Because anybody can make promises when they are inspired. Character appears when the promise becomes expensive. And listen, this doesn't mean you become robotic. Life happens. Plans change. You get things wrong. Sometimes wisdom requires changing direction. That is not breaking trust. Self-trust is not perfection. It's honesty. If something needs to change, you consciously change it. But you stop casually betraying your own intentions. There's a difference between saying there's a plan no longer makes sense, that this plan doesn't make sense at all, and saying I know exactly what I need to do. I just keep refusing to do it. One is wisdom. The other eventually becomes self-abandonment. And some people don't need another goal right now. They need to repair their relationship with their own word, because maybe you have made so many promises to yourself that your mind doesn't even react anymore. I'm going to get serious. Nothing. I'm going to change. Nothing. This is my year. Nothing. Your mind has heard that speech before. So stop giving speeches. Give evidence. Today, one thing, one promise. Keep it. Tomorrow, another. Keep it. Then another. Keep it. And don't announce everything. You don't need everybody watching. Some victories need to happen privately because you are not trying to impress them. You are rebuilding credibility with you. And one day you will say, I'm going to do this. And something inside you will answer, I know. Not, I hope. Not, maybe. Not, let's see how long this lasts. I know. Because you have become someone whose words carries weight, even when the only person hearing it is you. That is self-trust. And once you have that, you become very difficult to stop because you ask the world to believe in you. Before you ask the world to believe in you, ask yourself a harder question. Do I believe me? When I make myself a promise, does my own mind expect me to keep it? If the answer is no, don't shame yourself. Rebuild it. One promise, one action, one day at a time, until your word becomes your bond, even in private. Because one of the greatest relationships you will ever build for yourself is a relationship between a person who becomes and makes the promise and the person in the mirror who has to live with it. Make your word mean something again. And always remember that. If this message spoke to you today, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear this. This is Elevate You. As always, let's elevate.